All right, so this is where I'm at right now. I got a comment from one of the viewers on the channel, and they mentioned that um, in New York, where he's from, they do not allow, the code requires that anytime lumber is touching concrete, that the lumber be pressure treated. So my assumption here during the build was that since this ledger board is inside the building, there's going to be a log. I'm going to have a flashing. I'm going to have a lot of stuff here insulating the exterior from the interior. My assumption was that the lumber would be fine inside. So even you could see this bead here. Only reason I put this bead down of flashing cement is just to prevent any water that collects throughout the winter to go behind the ledger board and go ahead and freeze and contract and freeze and contract and present a problem. So I figured let's do that to just keep the moisture out as much as possible on the side that's touching the concrete. So in light of that point that the viewer mentioned, I went ahead and looked up, and sure enough, I mean, there is a requirement for either pressure treated or to have a gap between the wood and the concrete foundation, or going to be using this styrofoam. This is what's normally used on a ledger, on a sill plate, should I say. They put this styrofoam down on bare concrete, and then even then they use a pressure treated lumber. But again, since this is the inside of the building, and I am venting the foundation on 8 different points, so this will have some circulation of air. I got to prevent any long-term corrosion of the ledger board here. So this ledger board is going to be holding up the entire first floor, as we all know, and towards the middle of the span is going to be holding up some of the second floor weight-bearing walls. So I want to be able to sleep at night and know that I've done the job as best as possible. So I think from this point, my options were, like I said, to keep going, because already has roughly 20% of the floor is framed, as you can see. So either to keep going or to rip it out, or to go ahead and change it to pressure treated. So I'm not going to be changing it to pressure treated because I have literally hundreds of these anchors, 5/8 anchors, that go along the ledger board and secure it to the foundation wall. So I would have to remove this. Not all of them is set on the same depth, so even when you come with the pressure treated lumber, you need a lot of hands to basically hold it up, make sure I maintain this level, and mark all the holes, go ahead and drill out all the holes. And after I finish that, then it's going to be an issue of making sure that some of the studs actually bear the weight, as opposed to the pressure, the friction just bearing the weight, meaning the bolt just tightening up against the foundation wall. So I said, you know what, then you would have to make the holes a little bigger, so there would be no real weight. Right now, a portion of the board is being held by the bolt itself, so it can't go down. It's not, the holes are the exact size as the anchor. So I think it's as snug as it could possibly be. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut it here. I just laid out my next strap. So I'm going to have to put two new anchors here, because it's the edge of the ledger board, and 2 here. But this is where the cut will be. I'll remove this. I have to cut this sealant that I put down, remove this at the seam, at the joint, should I say, and yeah, take the board out, put some of the styrofoam in between, and this is thick enough to keep the moisture from the foundation, anything that does seep into it. And a second thing is also, this is waterproofed on both sides. But either way, I say, you know what, this is something that can be done without much disturbance of what I did so far. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Yep, so here it is again. Took off the ledger board, even though the top of the foundation was sealed. And yeah, you got a huge moisture mark across it. Wow, it's crazy. This is crazy. So yeah, definitely needed to have a seal between the ledger and the foundation. So doing this for the rest of the build.